Hi guys. It's been a while, long while, since I made a video. And I thought this morning, or today, since we're in the Christmas season, I'd take a little time and take a break from my writing. Most of you know that I have books published, Bible books published, and I have a ministry where people come and study with us one day a week or whenever they can, and it's all over the world. I believe that love is what needs to run the world. A couple of months ago, published the book of Genesis with commentary. One of several that I published about prophets and books of the Bible. And right now, we're in the book of Exodus. Fascinating book to me. Exodus, as you know, is where Moses was born and taken out of the river, raised as an Egyptian. But he was a Jew. And at some point in his life, we all hear about him being 40 years old, but at some point in his life, he began to stick up for the Jews, and he began to do God's work, and God called him. At that time, the Jews, or the Hebrews, had been in Egypt for 400 years. And it was time for them to go. And God arranged that. So they left. And of course, we all know about the parting of the Red Sea and the destruction of the Egyptian army. But I think what I want to talk to you about today is just what happened. Maybe a little bit of insight onto the inside. Now, there were over 2 million Jews walking through the desert, walking through the wilderness, over the stones and through the sands, and they had their cattle and they had their sheep and they had their goats and their children and their moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas. There were over 2 million people headed somewhere. And it was both a learning and a training experience by God. For example, every day enough quail would fall out of the sky to feed them. That's a lot of quail. And every day, manna from heaven, God bread I call it, would fall and they could pick it up. And on the 6th day, they had to pick up enough to last the 7th day because there was no work. They didn't do anything. They worshiped God that day. That's it. We all know. On the 7th day, God rested from his labor. And if they didn't get enough, they didn't eat on the 7th day. And one of the interesting parts about that is, if they had a big family, and they didn't gather very much, it was enough. If they had a small family, and they gathered too much, it was enough. I mean, that's the way God worked. Everything was perfect. He handled it all. But in the 2nd year, in the wilderness, God called Moses and Aaron and began to explain to them that he wanted a couple of things. The first was the ark. Then was the table, then was the candle, and then was the tabernacle. And he explained everything. He explained how he wanted the ark to look. He explained how he wanted the table to look. He explained the gold that it was to be wrapped with. He even explained the wood that was to be used. It was called shittim wood. Shittim wood. He told him how he wanted the table built and how he wanted an edge on a table or a band. How he wanted the candle built, 7 candlesticks. And how he wanted it decorated and what he wanted it made out of. And I'm not sure, but I think I remember reading and perhaps writing about it, that candlestick weighed almost 100 pounds. And some people say it just sat on a table, and other people say it was long and stood on the floor. Irregardless, it's what he wanted. Then we get into the tabernacle, and this is what I found extremely interesting. He explained to Moses, and possibly Aaron at times, exactly how he wanted that tabernacle built. Exactly the kind of wood to use. Exactly the stitching to use. And the fine linen of blue and purple and scarlet. He explained every bit of it to him. Now here's the thing that I found just fascinating. There was a couple of times when he told Moses, just like I showed you, S-H-E-W-D, showed. Just like I showed you. Now, how did he show it to him? Was it a hologram? Was it a drawing? Was it a picture? Was it a model? Doesn't say. But you got to remember, we're dealing with God here. And Moses had to remember all this and relate it to the craftsman, the artist. And these had to be artists to build this stuff. Even the sewing, they had to be artists. So here's what I think happened. I think as he explained it to Moses, he implanted it in his brain. So that when Moses got back to the artists or the builders, he could explain it to them in detail, and they would understand. That's how I think it happened. Now I'm going to close this for now, but that's just something to think about. Just remember, God is love. Jesus Christ is love. And you and I are built in His image. And we, all of us, have got 10 minutes a day for God. I love you. Have a great Christmas. And remember, life is sweet, bumps and all.